Alright, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to say Kalayim Yalba Shema Shabbat Shema Kakudash. The ones, the elders and apostles, great millstone, GMS, do wrong, teach well. Um, so I was just on looking through the news, seeing what's going on in the world. And I recorded a video yesterday about how Trump was floating around the idea of attacking the cartels in Mexico and things like that, which, could lead to attacks and different things coming on out here. And there's been talks of launching attacks on Iran as well. I know I've been hearing some guys kind of talk about that as well. That so-called conflict could play out soon. I really want to talk about today. Trump put a 90-day tariff pause, and all over the news you see how stocks are rising, right? So Justin Apple has best day since 1998 on Trump's 90-day tariff pause. The rally added more than $400 billion to Apple's market cap, which now stands just under $3 trillion. Right, so prices skyrocket, jobs vanish, and Apple's billions. Meanwhile, families struggle, right? Because, these tariffs are from places where they get different things from. So it kind of makes sense that their, shares or whatever, their values would rise. Not finished yet. Should probably do even work at some point. And then nothing's really of value here. Apple's still down 43.85 or 18% since the Sunburn scroll took office, and Trump tards think this is a run. Okay, well, this is just bashing. Prices skyrocket. Yeah, but this one, this is how people feel. That's why this is that second edge, man. They should not regard the kings nor princes, man. These people, they're not stupid, right? So, you keep, trying to fool them into thinking that everything's all right. Yeah, the stock market and shit might increase, but at the end of the day, and guess what? Prices are still fucking high, right? Everywhere. Even, I was talking to, one person, I'm new to this job, so I have I guess you say kind of like an instructor or whatever. I still get paid or whatever, but, I get, training or whatever on the field. And, we were just kind of making small talk, and he was telling me how, a lot of these little restaurants, mom and pop places, even they're, starting to feel it. Now they want $7 or $6 to get a full meal. They want the $7, they don't want the 10. So it's everywhere. Alright, so this year I just looked up Trump praise for lowering. Trump and his pause lower tariffs for all but China. Trump's game of chicken. Okay, well, that's old. Alright. It looks like he's paused many tariffs. They said lowering taxes on certain places. I don't want to click that one because you gotta pay for it, and I'm not paying for fucking news. Yeah, it's China. Trump temporarily drops tariffs to 10%. CNBC. Trump dropped new tariff rates for imports from most U.S. trade partners to 10% for 90 days to allow trade negotiations with those countries. Trump announced to pause hours after goods from nearly 90 nations became subject to stiffer so-called reciprocal tariffs imposed by the United States. The president also said in a social media post that he's raising the tariffs imposed on imports from China to 125%, effective immediately due to a lack of respect that China has shown to the world markets. Right, so, we can only wait and see what pops out, but, dropping the tariffs and giving them a chance to speak. They're gonna, actually communicate on this, or is this gonna actually, maybe raise tension? So we just gotta wait and see. I'm gonna raise tensions with all these other nations that he put the tariffs on, right? Which I believe Maybe some of them are EU nations. I'm not sure. I gotta look at it. But let's see. They have details. Do they have details? Canada, Mexico. Maybe they're not EU nations. All right. I can always look up a list later on. You should look up a list for yourself. But let's get our one precept and then just close this video off. 1 Thessalonians 5:1. But times and the seasons, brethren, you have no need that I write unto you, right? Because you know, right, these prophecies and these scriptures and things like that, you know. 2 Ezra 9:1, you know, things like that. The scriptures are the measuring stick. So the measuring tool through which you are able to measure the times that we're in, the way that we're supposed to act in the world, the way that we're supposed to act towards each other. Like, for yourselves know perfectly that the day of the Lord so cometh as a thief in the night. For when they shall say peace and safety, then sudden destruction cometh upon them as a trail upon a woman with child, and they shall not escape. Right? And that's these people say all the time, peace and safety. Hell, people even say safety nowadays. Like, you know, it's a nice gesture, but you know, you don't believe in this truth, man. So what safety are you gonna have? Right? You're not gonna have safety. You know, you're doomed. You know, but if someone says, you know, safety or whatever, you know, you too, you know, or if, you know, you make peace with people, of course, you know, like if Edomite says, hey, have a good day, I say, okay, you too, and then I go, and then I walk away, or I like to say, take care, that's my thing, you know, just to make peace with people, be if possible, be a peaceful all men, but I don't mean it, of course, you know, the only people who I want to be, you know, peace. The only people I want to be at peace is the hopeful elect. I don't care for anyone else, you know. And of course, I mean, that's another lesson for another day, but, you know, when you have someone, the hopeful elect, you know, the care, and you're supposed to care for your brothers, man, things like that, you know. Someone comes up and they're really sincere, you know, you take the time, you know, we go over little things with them, whatever, and then, you know, when it comes to someone like Eden, you just tell them that destruction is coming. You know, explain it to them and let that be that, right? And you have 2/3, you know, you don't take your time with the 2/3. You say, you know, if they don't get the first and second time, you admonish, then reject. So reject them. You're like, okay, you're not getting this, you can keep it going. Just keep it pushing, bro. Don't let that be that. You know, because, these people, they're always gonna stay complacent. So yeah, it was a little bit of a scare, stock markets and whatever, but now things are going back up, so people are gonna be like, oh, well, maybe things are alright. But at the end of the day, you know, this man's a devil, and he's only, you know, manipulating things, because, as I said, I was watching that podcast, and it was going into how basically Trump was his like approval ratings were kind of going down. Wow, I don't know if that was in the news, but they were saying that, you know, people don't really like this, and that if things had continued as they did with the stock markets and whatever, and you know, if things still continue, because things are not still good, right, and people aren't fooled, then, you know, it's possible for impeachment, things that could start to pop up, right? People get fed up. Psalm 58:2, yea, in the heart you work wickedness, you weigh the violence of your hands in the earth, right? The hands of their power. That's what these Edomites do. And they have all these different groups, these different three-letter organizations set up to spy on us and to hunt us down when the time is right, you know? Police and these different subsections and, you know, FEMA and all these different guys out here, and different organizations come to, you know, hunt us down, man, right? Try to go after the men of the Lord, right? Some they will succeed in catching, others they won't. The wicked are estranged from the womb; they go astray, so that they be born speaking lies. Right? And these Edomites, they're massive manipulators, man, and that's in their DNA, right? And they can manipulate the people, but they cannot manipulate the elect. The elect won't fall for their tricks, man. We could see right through it. That's why I said if it were possible, they would deceive the very elect, right? That's why even in the meme space, they're talking about the Neuralink chip. Let me see if I can find the thing. But this is gonna be the last thing. I'm gonna close it off. Do that. Oh well, I can't find the meme exactly, but there's some other stuff I found. The most developing your brain chose to stream music in your head. You get the Spotify thing. You get music in your head. Elon Musk 1 year later execute Order 66, saying that it's gonna have like control over you. The voices in my head, the Neuralink. As soon as you go into these people know, man. Elon goes to read my mind, and Bitcoin goes up. They say they become a stupid robot. Elon's their most chickle. See, this thing is coming out, man. It's coming out more and more. You gotta, if you're the like, man, you'll know. You'll see that this is the MOTB. It can be connected to money, like streaming music. And they're gonna have to move. Everything is gonna be moved to this thing. Handheld phones and those different stuff. Maybe handheld phones without a chip will be obsolete. Don't let there be that. Don't let it